This is going to be a very quick supporting tutorial on using Git. What I'm going to do is use GitHub, which is used by a lot of professionals. It's pretty strong, and the other alternatives I think are Bitbucket, and then the other thing is to use GitLab, which the school has a GitLab repository. So just need to adjust my screen a bit so I can get at this. Okay, and I'm going to go to the GitHub website, GitHub.com. Now, I've been a member of GitHub for a long time. Signing up for GitHub's very easy. You can do it here. I'm going to just sign in, and my username is strange. It's Dr. Batnot, and my password is, oh no, I won't tell you my password. And this gets me into GitHub, and in GitHub I can see all the things that have been going on, other people I follow or I'm working with. And what I want to do now is to set up a new repository. So over here in my repositories, I can say new, and for most of what I do I make private repositories, but I'm going to make this one public, just for being able to show, so you guys can access it if you want to see what I've done. And I'm going to call this repository Git SPM Demo, and this is going to have a description. This will be for keeping the demo game, the demos I do for supporting the SPM module in 2020, not 2002, in 2020. I'm going to make this public, which it already is. I'm going to initialize it with a readme, and I can put in a git ignore. The git ignore I like to use is the Unity one. Is it down here? PQRST Unity, and that will allow it to ignore all sorts of things which Unity will produce, which I really don't need to keep on the repository. Okay, so it's got a readme and a git ignore, and this will be for keeping demos. That's my readme that is started with. Everything else is going to be done on the desktop and then pushed to this repository. So this is in something called the branch master, and I'm going to clone this onto my desktop. Now, you can clone with SSH. The best way I've found to clone things is to use the Git for Windows, GitHub desktop, and I've already installed that. You can find it on the Git. You can find it by searching for it on Google. Just search for GitHub for Windows or whatever you operating system you're using. I think there's one for other. There's definitely one for other operating systems. So I've already got that repository, that system designed. Now it asks me where I want to put it, and I'm going to put it, instead of putting it into this workspace which I normally work in, I'm going to choose the workspace which I set up deliberately for this project. So in SPM here I've got one for the Git tutorial here, and I'm going to select that folder as the place I want to put it. Okay, and now when I choose clone like this, it will clone it onto my desktop. And the thing about Unity, sorry, not Unity, a thing about GitHub is and Git in general, it's an online repository, but you also keep a local copy. So I've got a local copy of the current branch master, and I'm going to, first of all, I'm just going to simply copy in the code that I developed for the Dave project, which we did in class. So I'm gonna just fold that down for a minute, fold that down, and this is the repository cloned here. And then if I open this is the Dave project that's in this other directory, is in this special Dave directory. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put that in here, paste. So this is the project that does a little bit of what we were supposed to be doing with the ball on the platform. Okay, so that's being moved into there now. So if I bring back the GitHub desktop, it now sees that there's been some changes. There's lots of changes because we've not had anything before. So added the Dave project, and the summary is what are we going to say? Should have a summary that means something, that talks to the somebody else. So demo Unity for SPM added the Dave project, which is the beginning of what we were doing, like that. And I'm going to commit that to master. Now that's made a saving of the project, or it will do in a minute when it's finished whirling here. That has made us a saving of the repository here on my local desktop. Now, if I'm satisfied that that's what I want to keep, what I will do next is to push this branch to the online repository. And I should really take a pause here because it seems to be taking some time to do these things. So I'm going to pause, and now the commit has finished. I'm ready to push, and it says here push to origin, push one commit to the origin remote. Okay, so I'm going to push that to the remote origin. And I should have paused just there because that didn't do anything. That took no time at all. So if we were now to go back to the online repository up here, at the moment nothing has been recorded here on this picture, but if we refresh our screen, it's now got a record of what we've done. And if we want to, a good place to go, we can go and look at the code which already exists now in Dave. We can go into assets, we can see the scenes, and we can see scene 0 which I made, move the ball which I created, and so on. So they're all now on the website. So if I go to Insights, the most useful thing I find is the network which tracks what's happened. Okay, so let's open Unity for a second, and I might well pause the project while Unity opens. I'll just open that, pause the recording while Unity opens. So let's open Unity, and when it finally opens this window, I will now open the Dave project, which I can't see up there. Oh yes, there it is, the Dave project. So as I start opening that, it will take a little bit of time to load again. But what I'm going to do is look at how far I've got, and here it is loaded. So at this point I've got the sphere, and the sphere is purple, and it's also got the move ball attached, and if I press the button, the go button, the ball drops, and I believe at this point if I apply a force it starts to move there off the screen. Okay, so I got a bit further with it than I did in class. So that's how far I've got so far. Now what I want to do next actually is just to add the walls to the thing, and they should be very simple, should be a very simple thing to do. But what I should do in Git is now to create a branch specifically designed to do that. So what I can do is open the Git thing here, and in here I can choose new branches. Now there's only the one branch at the moment, so what I need to do is to what do I need to do? I need to add a new branch. Don't need to sign in. What am I doing? Repository. And what I want to do is branch new branch. Why couldn't I see that? Okay, so this is called an issue branch, or the first thing I should really have is a development branch. So I'm going to cut the development branch, and I'm going to create that branch, and that's only known just here. So what I'm going to do is say I've created a development branch. This is where I will base the developments. Pretty obvious thing to say. And I'll commit that one. And hello. Commit that one. Oh, 0 change files, so I don't need to do anything. Got a little little thing there. Don't need to commit anything yet. What I would normally do now would be to start the developments on there, but I would have, what is the next thing I want to do? So the next thing I'm going to do is actually another branch of the development branch, and this branch is going to be based on development, and it's going to be called add boundaries. Okay, and we'll create that branch, and so what I'm going to do is actually do some development, then the system will allow me to do a commit. So just a little bit of fiddling around. Where was Unity again? Oh, yes, I have to open it on the desktop. Open Unity once more. Same Dave project. And okay, in order to add the boundaries, what I'm going to do is use simple game object components, and I'm just using a cube. Obviously it puts it at 0, 1, 0. I'm going to drop it down till it's basically in the scene, and I'm going to look on top so I get some idea of dimensions. Okay, I'm going to scale this in the looks like it's the Z direction, but I'm not entirely sure that that will be the same, by to 0.5. okay, and pull it back at the moment. Let's look at it from the camera's perspective. Okay, it's too high in the air now, so I'm going to grab the cube object, I'm going to move it down, and now I'm going to expand it in the what's this, X direction. Going to give it a scale of, is 5 going to be enough? No, 10 roughly, right. Okay, so now if I look at from the top again, I've got a fairly large barrier there. Maybe the height can come down by a bit more, so let's scale the Y down to 0.7. And now go back and view that again from the camera's perspective. How's that going to look compared to the ball? Well, we'll see in a bit. Right, now I'm going to duplicate those because they basically are all I want. So I'll call this, going to rename this wall 1. No, let's call it something more sensible, back wall. Okay, now I can do right click and I can duplicate that and change its name to front wall, and with front wall and viewed from the top, I'm going to drag it there. Didn't want to drag it that way. Undo that dragging and grab hold of the blue one there and push it to this end. Okay, go back to the camera and look at, well, I can look at the game actually. Yeah, slightly further and it will be more or less in the right place. So I'm going to look again from on top, and I'm just going to take that wall and move it just that bit further. Okay, now I'm going to copy or duplicate that front wall, and I'm going to make the duplicate be called left side. Is that right? And now the axis we're looking down on is Y, so potentially what we need to do is rotate that by 90 and then grab the left side, move it over here and back there, and that's more or less. Now if we view from the camera's perspective again, it's not looking too bad, is it? Go back into the scene, move it slightly further, and it should be okay. It is overlapping, but unless we tell it to do something about being overlapped, it will just sit there and do nothing. Okay, and now we're going to duplicate that one and make it equaled right side, and guess what, we're going to move it across to the right side. Now if we go back to the main camera and we view it, I can't see much of the scene, so one of the things I'm going to do is here we are, align view to selected again, and raise the camera up a bit. And the other thing I want to do is tilt it slightly around this X direction. So I'm going to rotate around X. If I rotate it by 10 degrees, it's maybe not enough. Let's rotate it by 25. Okay, and if I view it from on top, move it this way a bit, that's too much. Now if I view from the Z direction again and I use world coordinates or central coordinates instead, maybe I can lift up there. Does that look right? Rotate around here, move the whole thing, wrong way, wrong axis. Crazy. Okay, there we are. Okay, that's the view I want. I'll save the scene, and in project I've got scene 0 saved again. If I now run the project, I'll see if those walls are big enough. Yep, they don't let the ball out. Yeah, that's one thing I worried about, was the ball being so fast it would go off the top, but that looks great. So I can say I've passed the project requirement of adding the sidewalls. So I'm going to close that, having saved the scene. Did I save? File, exit. Okay, now I can go back to my thing, and the add boundaries have actually been they should have had an impact. Why haven't they had an impact? I'm on the add boundaries branch. Have I you know what I've done? I've changed the project in the wrong folder. So I've copied over that folder that was the wrong folder. So in SPM I copied over the folder, Dave, but then when I edited it in my Git tutorial, it's the old Dave that I've got in Git tutorial, and the changed Dave is here. So let's copy that and paste it in here. And we'll say replace the files for all the rest. Oh, good. Okay, now it should see some changes, which is good. Okay, whoa, it's seen all the changes. Created a development branch. Made an add walls branch of that and updated the project. Next time we must make sure to update the correct project, so I'm going to now commit that one. Oops, I need to commit to add boundaries. Added boundaries. Test case was the ball did not escape. Code passed. No. Publish the branch. Okay, so we've published the branch. I've made a few mess ups on the way, and yeah, right. So if we were to now return to the website, and we now have a development branch with another branch called add boundaries. Now when we're sure that those are correct, what we want to do is to merge them back into the development branch. Okay, we'll do that. This is the development branch, this is the add boundaries, and we'll do that. Okay, now all of your group should have somebody who's got experience with Git, and they should become your Git master, and they'll be helping you all to make sure you do your Git commits correctly.